I just got like the happiest news because I went on it wasn't really a live stream, but it was on Facebook, and one of my favorite shows said to go on Facebook, particularly their show page on their show's page. Sorry. For some interesting news, and I'm so happy right now. I'm probably gonna tell in the next videos. But anyway, yeah, this is not part 3 because it's kind of short. So I'm gonna call it like part 2.5 because there's not much to say about it. But anyway, this is the ending of Solitude. Anyway, let's get to it. So we pretty much left off with, pretty much Win is the one that pretty much disintegrates, Indigo, because he's a badass like that. But anyway, continuing off back at Catco. Basically, like I said before, you know, Win has a bonding moment with Shaban. You know how, like, her father's name was seen on the list of members from a cheating website or something like that, and he bonds with her saying, you know, my dad was a criminal, he killed a bunch of people and all that stuff. So he knows what it feels like to be like her, to be like that one innocent child that has, like, a bad person as a parent. Or at least a bad example of a parent. And, like, in the whole conversation, Shaban, like I said, she was, like, she seemed very static. It didn't look like she seemed interested in what anything Win had to say, honestly. But then all of a sudden, just randomly, she just straight up kisses him and makes out with him hella passionately and shit. And without warning, she stops and warns Win, you know, don't say a word about this kiss. And they continue making out. It was pretty funny. But then she leaves. But anyway, like, I thought that was a highly interesting thing. To think the possibility of Shaban and Win actually, becoming a thing, especially as we all know who Win's father is. Win's father is freaking Toyman, and we all know, like I said in a previous, Supergirl video / episode, we all know Shaban is actually in the legitimately in the comics, and she's actually, I forgot her name, but she is a villain in the comics, so that will be an interesting take, knowing that Shaban in the comics is an evil person. She is a bad guy in the comics. And the fact that in this show, Win is the son of Toyman. It's going to be an interesting thing. But anyway, Kara actually gives James her blessing to tell Lucy the truth that, you know, Kara is Supergirl. But while he's doing that, Lucy tells James in retaliate, before he gets to really tell her, Lucy pretty much makes up this huge, not really a speech, but like she starts talking to him before he gets any word in. She pretty much breaks up with James because, mainly because what I said earlier in I think the first video, you know how Kara was actually talking to Lucy, telling her, you know, James is a great guy, and she actually mentions the story of James's father, like I said in that previous video, or videos, that, James has never talked about his father at all to Lucy. The whole time Lucy and James have known each other, he's never really mentioned his father or gotten to detail about his dad to her. And the fact that she was shocked that Kara actually knew some sort of detail about the father, not just any detail, a very intimate detail about James's father, and she didn't know, really caused a red flag. Obviously you could see in Lucy's face, like she told Kara, oh, thank you for all that, and all that stuff, right? She pretty much pretended to be okay in front of Kara, but we could see in her face that she's kind of in shock and kind of pissed off that Kara knew this intimate detail about James and his father that she had no idea about. And so Lucy pretty much breaks up with James because the fact that Kara, the way she talks about James during their previous conversation, she believes, you know, Kara loves James, right? And well, first off, she breaks up with him because she's like, you know, you love Kara. You obviously do, because the whole time we've known each other, even like when we weren't dating, between like them knowing each other and dating, like I said, James has never divulged anything about his father to Lucy at all. And yet he tells Kara not only about the father, but an intimate detail about it. And because of that, Lucy believes, you know, James is in love with Kara because he gave that most intimate detail about his father to Kara, not herself. And also, like, she believes, you know, James, you are in love with Kara even though you don't want to admit it. And she also believes, you know, Kara loves James too, probably because the way she talked about him, you know what I mean? And she's like, you know, I believe Kara loves you too, James, even if Kara can't even admit it at all to herself or to you yet, right? And so, that was crazy. That was an interesting thing. I do feel sorry for that I do somewhat feel sorry for that relationship because they really tried to make it work, you know, and they obviously have a history. But we all know from the beginning that Kara's obviously had feelings for James. And it's, even in the beginning episodes, it was kind of showing it was vice versa when it came to James's feelings, because he obviously cares about her, but we never really got in depth with it till, like, a little in the middle of the series. But anyway, but I really do feel bad because they tried to work it out. They tried to work out the problems, but, you know, James is just into supers. I mean, his best buddy in the whole wide world is practically to me, it's like his twinsy, because they're like besties. They're like brothers. Is Superman. So obviously, he's gonna have a deep bond with this other super, which is Kara. But anyway, Kara returns to the DEO, and, you know, she's willing to put all this hatred she has for Hank aside, and, you know, she comes back to the DEO and is ready to work with Hank again, putting all that hatred aside. And when that happens, though, Alex, she's like, even though Kara's agreed to come back and put it behind her, Alex is like, you know what? I can't do this, I can't lie to you, and she pretty much comes clean saying, you know what? Jean did not kill, Astra. Astra was in a fight with Jean, and she was about to kill him, and I came out and I couldn't stand by and let Astra kill Jean, so I killed Astra. So, like, yeah, she pretty much comes clean. She pretty much tells Kara, you know, your aunt was going to kill Jean, and I wanted to protect Jean, so I killed Astra. And, she also comes clean that she let Jean take the blame because Jean knew that Alex did not want to lose Kara because, you know, she's the one that killed Astra, right? And, you know, despite all that, despite she was reluctant, she looked like she was going to leave and all that stuff, in all honesty, I really thought Kara was literally going to ignore Alex from now on, because look what she did with Jean. But, you know, the fact that, you know, they are adopted sisters, you know what I mean? And, I guess because of that, she was a little more lenient than she was with Jean. So, like, while that whole thing happened, Kara reluctantly hugs Alex, but we all know that the reason why she was reluctant is because, you know, her own sister killed her aunt, her blood aunt, you know what I mean? And she also reaches out for Hank's hand, you know, probably as an apology for taking all that anger and aggression out of him when it wasn't even his fault to begin with. But, like, it was, like, a really interesting, like, intimate moment between Kara, Alex, and, Hank, Jean. And, finally, Non, he has this spinning ball contraption thing. I was wondering what that was. I had a feeling that it had something to do with, Indigo, and my suspicions were pretty much confirmed shortly afterwards, because he has a spinning ball and he places it on a computer, and then all of a sudden a new version of Indigo begins to materialize, right, on the computer. But, like, it materializes in a bunch of pieces, like broken parts of a doll or something. And he's like, basically, he's making a new version of Indigo. It's in pieces right now. He's making a new version where this time Indigo will do everything his way, the way he wants it. So basically, in a way, he's making a new version where he could, a new version of Indigo he could actually control. Which I'm like, great, more of Laura! I want more of Laura in this, but, like, I'm gonna feel sorry for this new version of Indigo because, sorry, my nose. I'm gonna feel sorry for this new version of Indigo because she's gonna be complete control of Non, doing everything he says like a lapdog, so I'm gonna feel very sorry for her. But anyway, that is my reaction rant to, wow, that took longer than expected. I thought, wow. Anyway, this might actually be a part 3, not 2.5 anymore, because I'm already 9 minutes in. But anyway, that is my final reaction rant to, Supergirl. I love the fact that the title is called Solitude, and obviously I saw the preview before this episode came out that she was going to the Fortress of Solitude, hence the name. I love the little snippet to the fact that, you know, Superman, the way it opened in the Fortress of Solitude, Superman literally left a key. But I thought the fact that the key cannot be lifted by anybody except a Kryptonian was pretty cool. And I don't know if you guys noticed this when she was looking around the Fortress of Solitude. Did you guys catch that interesting Easter egg inside the fortress of, there was something on, like, a pedestal, it was actually a Legion of Superhero ring. You guys remember that ring, right? I might get into more detail about that later, but the fact that that was there as an Easter egg was the coolest shit in the world. But anyway, I am going to do a reaction for The Walking Dead, so look forward to that, guys. Bye.